What's up, guys? On this episode, I'll be featuring some original Bruce Lee paintings from artist Steve Walling out of California, and it's coming right up. What's up, guys? Charles Damiano back from the Bruce Lee collection for another exciting episode of Bruce Lee Show and Tell. In this episode, what I'll be doing is featuring some original Bruce Lee paintings from a friend of mine out of California in Los Angeles. He lives about an hour out of Los Angeles. His name is Steve Walling, and I know Steve now since 1999 when I got my first painting from Steve on Enter the Dragon. Now, this painting you seen me feature in another episode, which I'll include on the description above, and we went over all the things that were special about this painting. It has about 8 autographs on it that Steve has gathered throughout the years from all the cast of Enter the Dragon. Everyone from Jim Kelly, Ahna Capri, we have Robert Lee, Linda Lee, Shannon Lee, Phoebe Lee. They're all on the painting. I got Jim Kelly's autograph personally at a convention I went from Chile because it wasn't on the painting, and I was able to get that on this beautiful painting. And then just recently I got Angelo Mao's autograph on the painting, which I'll show you a close-up of. So I have quite a number of original cast members from Enter the Dragon on this beautiful painting that Steve Walling has put together for me back in 1999 when he put this out. Him and I met through email, and we did a trade, and I gave him a bunch of Kung Fu Monthly poster magazines and a lot of magazines that he was looking for at the time, and he gave me this beautiful Enter the Dragon painting, which I've treasured now for probably over 20 years, and I bring it with me everywhere I go, and I'm looking to get someone else's autograph on the painting. Another painting that Steve has done for me is this beautiful Game of Death painting, which he also got Robert Lee to sign, and it says, "To Charles, best wishes from Robert Lee." And I got that from Steve back in 2002, which I'll show you a close-up of that in a few minutes as well. I wanted to give you guys a closer look at Robert Lee's autograph, Bruce Lee's brother, who signed this beautiful Game of Death painting for Steve Walling back in 2002. And I guess as Steve knew he was going to be getting me this painting, I asked him if he was in touch with Robert, if he could have him autograph it for me and write to Charles. So as you can see here, he wrote "To Charles," and then it says "Best wishes," and you see Robert Lee's autograph at the bottom. So just love this painting that Steve has put together, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit more of a close-up on this beautiful Game of Death painting. Steve is just an incredible artist, and as you can see, his work is obviously second to none when it comes to Bruce Lee, and he just does an amazing job on his Bruce Lee paintings. And then over the years, Steve has done a number of paintings for me. He's done this painting in a behind the scenes of Enter the Dragon, and I really like this scene because I love Bruce in his blue suit, and you see director Robert Klaus coordinating the scene with Bruce, and you have the monk in the beautiful red outfit, and I just love the vibrancy of the colors that Steve works with when he does paintings. And this, of course, is that famous scene where Bruce holds up his fists and he says, "I do not hit, it hits all by itself."
And when there is an opportunity, I do not hit. It hits all by itself.
And that's where he used a lot of his philosophy in the beginning of Enter the Dragon, which they actually added back in later on. It was omitted from the original version that came out in '73 because they felt it was too heavy for the American audience back then to kind of comprehend the philosophy he was trying to convey. And then they added it back in on the 25th anniversary, which was I was happy to see because it's an incredible scene. So I had Steve do this painting for me. You see his signature here at the bottom of the painting. And again, this is another one of my favorite paintings I got from Steve. And another one that I picked up from him is this beautiful one, because I really love the opening fight scene of Enter the Dragon where Bruce comes out and he fights Sammo Hung. And there's something about these JKD gloves that were just intriguing. And I picked up a pair back in the early 70s when I was a kid and studying JKD and Wing Chun. I used to actually spar in the gloves and the ones that I have, so I've kept them all these years. And because I love this opening scene, I sent Steve a picture from Enter the Dragon, and he was able to put together this beautiful opening scene of Bruce Lee with the finger gloves in the opening scene of Enter the Dragon where he fights Sammo Hung. So another one of Steve Walling's paintings, which I just adore and have treasured all these years. Again, probably a good 18 years ago is when he put this painting together for me. Now, recently I had a conversation with Steve. I gave him a call the other day just to see what he was up to. And I was really excited to hear of all the different projects that he's working on. And he's working on some new Bruce Lee paintings. So what we decided to do is I decided to share with you guys all the Bruce Lee paintings that Steve has put together over the last 20 years for celebrities like John Saxon, Sammo Hung, Ahna Capri, Robert Lee, members of the Lee family. Now, Steve has met all these people, and Steve had some interesting stories when he met these people. He was actually in John Saxon's house when he did the paintings for John Saxon. He became friends with Robert Lee over time. And what I love the most with my conversation with Steve is he shared with me some really interesting stories that Robert Lee and John Saxon and Sammo Hung shared with him in their meetings with Bruce Lee, and I was fascinated to hear the stories. So what I'm trying to do, and I hope I pull this off, as I told Steve, I like to do a sit-down interview with him so he can share these first-hand stories with you guys on what John Saxon, Sammo Hung, Robert Lee, and others have shared with him in meeting Bruce Lee and discussing things like his speed and how he was as a person and his fighting ability. So they were really, really interesting, and I'm hoping that I get together with Steve in the next few months so we could put together a wonderful interview that you guys will see on a part 2 of this episode. But for now, what I told Steve to do is send me all his paintings that he's done over the years so that we can share them with you guys. So what I like you guys to do now is sit back and enjoy this beautiful picture gallery of all Steve Walling's Bruce Lee paintings that he's put together over the years that I think you guys are really gonna love. So let's take a glimpse into Steve Walling's Bruce Lee original paintings. Enjoy. that an incredible glimpse into Steve Walling's Bruce Lee paintings that he's put together over the last couple of years? I hope you enjoyed this series as much as I enjoyed putting it together, and I know for sure that Steve Walling would love to hear from you guys, so please send him comments through the comments below and keep the chatter going. First off, I want to thank Steve Walling for supplying me with all those wonderful photos of the paintings that he's put together throughout the year so we can share with you guys, the collectors and fans out there. And secondly, I'd like to thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Also, let Steve know if you like any paintings for him to do for you. I will include his email address in the description below so you can contact him, and if you have any ideas on paintings that you may want him to do for you, I'm sure he'll love to discuss that with you. And for those of you who are new to the channel, please remember to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button below so that you can stay in the know on when we release our next episode on Bruce Lee collecting and all things that are Bruce Lee. So for now, once again, I'd like to thank you guys for joining me today, and Charles Damiano signing out from the Bruce Lee collection saying have fun collecting.